So I'm surprised at how well bell peppers do. They've done really well in the heat, a little water each day, and they're just doing great. I think this is a jalapeno back here, but if you keep going, they're just, every plant has plenty of fruit. Oh, this one dropped. You know, it's a bell pepper. It just keeps on going. I also have some squash. I started to step right here. See it? I think I kind of stepped on it. It's okay. Right here. There's a couple of them actually I have in here of the squashes. They're doing really well. Corn's doing really well. It's a little extra nitrogen with my secret ingredients, really kicking everything in. Everything is doing really well for a fall harvest. Now it's to the point where I got to start thinking about what am I going to do for a winter garden now again. Young glass in here, and it's an actual ear of corn. That thing is in there. That thing is set. So pretty excited. We got some cool things going on. Look right here. We got the big. I put it down a low spot right here. It always just drinks all that water. Had a lot of success with that actually. That really does work. A low spot where the water collects. The tree just drinks. That thing doing amazing. That's a turkey fig right there. All right. So the water travels all the way down to here. All this grass is the water mark right here, where a lot of water gets in here. A lot of it just pulls up. We got a last big rain. This one was just a little sprinkle we're having, which is the way I prefer it. We're having sprinkles throughout the entire day, so it's just like it pours for 10 minutes. A couple hours later, same thing. Allows the ground to soak it up. That doesn't just does that sheet flow. One over here. I'll show you what we're over here looking at. See this line of water? See that going down? That line that goes all the way down here. What I've done is I planted native edibles in this little trench right here, and that's what these two right here are. So let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So it starts off with this yellow flower right here. See that? See that beautiful yellow flower? Then it goes over and starts getting this right here. See that? Almost like that little hook right there. Let me show you a better example. More of them in there, see it? 1, 2, 3, 4, bunch of them in there. This is what we're after right here. This is called devil's claw. And if you look at it, it looks just like okra, and it actually cooks up just like okra. And this is a wild edible out here and in the desert. Is we have our own okra. This, what it does here is it dries out and it'll split and it turns into like this hook, and it will just catch on your pant leg, and it will just kind of wash downstream. Now when they're young like this and very soft, they're actually edible. When they start getting a little woody, like they start getting a little stiff, they're no longer edible. But this comes back every time it gets to the monsoon rains. This plant here is actually 2 years old now. It's actually come back and come back and come back each year. But throughout the winter and the beginning of the summer and stuff, it's just not. It's not here. It's dead. There's nothing here. This whole thing will die back into like this big taproot, and it will just come back. And what I do is I found seeds, little hooks like this, and I sprinkle them all around. And that's a lot what's going on here. Also, I put a lot of that coyote gourd in there too, try and get that growing. And it actually worked out really, really well. This little impression I have right here, I believe there's another one that grows over this way. I think last year, let's see if it popped up this year. Oh yeah, there it is. I can see it. Same thing here where it gets a nice flow of water. Nice little impression right here. We have it growing here again. And what's great about this is these, I'm not watering them. I'm not fertilizing them. I'm not trying to keep pests away, nothing. The only thing that I notice is if this was outside the fence, the cows like to eat it. But as far as right now, you know, you can see the whole group of ants right there. Nothing's messing with it. So this is a wild natural edible that I'm not having to maintain. I'm not having to put all this work into or worry about. It just comes back naturally. So I'm not going to actually eat any of that this year. I'm going to let all that go to seed again, and then I'm just going to try and plant more seeds up and down this whole thing right here, and try and get myself something naturally occurring. You know what I mean? That way it can naturally do what it needs to do. Because what these do is, what I noticed is, you'll have a plant like a wash like this, it'll be way upstream. I mean way upstream, like miles. And then it'll just go for miles all the way down. And it'll have multiples of these, boop, 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 all the way down. Same thing with cactus, I've noticed too, especially the ones that bear fruit. Upstream will be one plant, and it will just keep on going. Little plants all the way down the stream. So if you're ever looking for wild edibles like this, just follow the river, the dry creek bed here, the wash, up, and you can find probably multiples of these. If this is what you're looking for, you can tell by the 3 leaves, the bright yellow flowers. It's almost like a tacky and sticky sometimes when it gets dry out here. Now we're not having that feeling, but obviously it takes some practice to know what you're looking at. You don't just want to grab something random and put it in your mouth. But if you know what you're looking for, these are very distinct. You really can tell with that hook. And these are a wild edible. There are videos online I've seen. People just chop it up and do it a stir fry, same as okra. And I'm not going to do that this year because I really want to try building up the amount of plants. But this whole thing over here, that's the goal. I'm gonna put is to fill this whole thing up with that plant. So this is a natural spot where it's holding water, and I've already had a lot of success. You know, right here. If I can fill this whole trench full of these things, this whole little mini swell, all the way down, I could really produce a lot of food through here. You know, I could have actually an actual harvest every year going through here, just taking a good portion of those. Natural impressions like this, you see where it kind of holds water for a second here. Now these are super important, and these really are the only way you're going to make this big rainfall out here really count, is if you really just slow it down, but especially if you can just stop it for a moment and let it just soak. Because otherwise, if you look, you know, we probably got maybe an inch of water penetration. That's it, you know. So only with this rain we got real shallow roots got it. But if you want to like water a tree, like I have that fig over there, something like this, you find a natural impression like this, and you plant a tree. And that's what I did for the fig, and my goodness, does it work out really well. So all the natural water pools to a location, and you'll see a pool like this and be like, that's where you plant your tree. Because then when you really need it, right here in the deep summer, and it's just getting scorching, get all that water down. And I bought from Home Depot spineless prickly pear. So these ones here are really good for an actual vegetable. They don't really have any spines. They still have the clackets, which are like the little hair-like spines on it, but they're really easy. You can just put some fire over that and clean those, and they're pretty much as easy to process as the fruit. So that's a lot better for eating. All the rest of these, primarily, I'm doing a lot of it trying to get fruit production, but down here. You can see where my little net here. We got a little. We didn't really get sheet flow. We didn't get the water to actually flow. We got the water to actually just hit and soak, which is amazing. That's perfect. You know, it's not like other places where you have like this, like, oh, we have a rainy day. No, it's not like that here. It's like the water droplets are just huge, and it just all at once it just sheet flows. So it's nice that we just got a little bit of rain. But let's go check this out over here. So this is another low spot. You can see on the back side of this where it's collecting water on the other side here. And this is a low spot here. Now, so we have now, this is what's called cholla. This is now pencil cholla. And especially right here, I planted this earlier this year. You can see all the new growth, and then you can see the fruit. Now, this being a native plant, that little bit of water worked out really well. I also used a little bit of I think it was called root right or something close to this, a rooting hormone, a dry powder. I dipped it in there. I put this off the cutting, and I did it in early spring, and it was able to, the growing season here, to establish roots. You can tell by all the new growth, and actually give me fruit the first year. So now what I've noticed is the cactus likes it where we have ourselves those deep soaks. So I wouldn't put it where something's gonna have water for more than a day or two, but that deep soak, it did just fine. This was on the other side of the property, and it looked all black and dead. This one over here is completely dead, but these ones came all back to life. This is all new growth. So all of this kind of bounced back. Even this smaller cutting here, we have new growth on it. So that I'm really pleased about. And this is producing fruit. This is an edible plant, and I'm not watering it. I'm just letting it grow, which is really neat. I am really stoked about that. So I think the aspect of really just having like these impressions in the ground and letting water sit there really does work really well for capturing water. That's why I kind of do the trenches are long, and they're like these elongated things, but they do really work the same way over here in the garden. So we had some bite marks out of some of my cactus here, like this here. This was happening recently, and I was trying to figure out what was eating my cactus. So the first indicator in my mind is, oh, we have rodents. So I put out a rat trap, like this. And this is specifically in front of the one they ate till it died here. They ate all the way in. I tried to replant it, didn't work. So I put it out here, right here. It's the pumpkin seed, the trap like this. And I came out here, and inside that trap was a rabbit, full-size little rabbit. And I was like, whoa, okay. So by the time I figured out the situation, Coyote has already got that rabbit, okay? So I said, you know what? That was interesting. So I put the trap out again, and then a second rabbit got in there. Same thing with the Coyote took that thing and drug it off. So I haven't had that problem since. So I think the only thing I've seen actually try and eat these so far is the rabbits. I had seen earlier this year a couple of turtles come up here, tortoises, dead tortoises, come up here and try and nibble at these things. But the thing that honestly gets it the most is the rabbits. And the rabbits I saw eat the bark off the trees too. So the rabbits out here are pretty can get pretty hungry, and they will try and eat this stuff up. As you can see here, we got this is again right in front of my trees here. So there's the trees, and I've actually cut these down. Those trees are easily 8, 9, 10 feet tall over here, and the roots are easily going this far. So what this does is it soaks into the ground. It stays here, soaks into the ground. Under that walkway over there is easily where the roots are, and this is a lot of water that's in there. And over here, I've started to do the same thing on this side here, just for these other trees, and my other grapes here are able to eventually encourage the roots to come this way, and the whole thing to actually start really getting a good drink in the summertime. So I'm going to continue doing this, as in probably right there where the end of that water is where it ends. I'm probably going to take it all the way back to probably this corner here, and then probably take it up. Probably start this one, probably bring it back, able to really have a lot of water right here to just soak in. So all these tree roots are promoted to grow out this way. And so far, it's worked really well. I'm really happy about how much water I'm able to hold here for weeks at a time. So that's really cool. So this is one of the native prickly pear that I have over here. This is a spine variety, but that right there, full hand piece, this is, you can see it's really thick. This one actually, I got a little water. So I was watering this, and it would get a little sprinkle of water now and again. Not much, but a little bit. And you can kind of see these three, which got just a little bit of water. You can see them explode and grow. Everything else getting, you know, like this, getting almost no water. You can see it's a lot thinner and not really showing as much growth. But it will, you know, still be established. Now that we get a lot of these rains and moisture, it's able to really root in and do well. But these prickly pear, depending on where elevation you're at, depending on how much water you get, for me, it can grow around where I'm at, but it's not really it's something that people plant. It's not something that really just grows itself. So they're actually up the way. There is a little I don't know what you would call it, a little gift shop, and it actually has a cactus out front that's been there for over 100 years, and it's a prickly pear. So and you know, no one's out there watering it, it's just a plant. So it does show that these can grow for a long time, even with the native rainfall. It's just they don't really just propagate very easily on their own or by seed very easily here. This is a little lower elevation, probably about 2,300, something like this. Usually, you know, you're talking 3, 4, a little higher in elevation, a little bit more getting hit from the rainfall. You see more of these cactus here, but they still do really well where I'm at, and they'll still do really well even at lower elevations. You just got to give them a little extra, you know what I mean? Maybe water them once, you know, make sure, or just put them in an area that you know is going to hold some water. A lot of lightning in the background. That's going to hold some water. I think I have multiple types here. I wasn't paying attention, but some of these here, I believe this one grows more like a tree, if I remember, and this one goes up and there's a lot more thorns to it. This one you can see is a lot more thorns and pretty spiky. But you can see over here, looks like these varieties produce a lot of fruit too. So that I'm pretty stoked about. Oh, this is pretty cool. So this is a desert willow that I actually grew from seed. I sold my house and I moved out here, but I was still in the desert before I sold my house in California. And this is the willow that was in my front yard, and I put the seed down. These make beautiful flowers, really hardy. They can't survive unless, kind of like the mesquite trees, they need a little bit of water. They usually are by like washes and other things to get a good amount of water. It needs that deep soak, you know, every blue moon. And this one I've been watering, getting it to grow. These are beautiful. They make these beautiful flowers every year. I love it to death.